How is it going, guys? This week's chapter of Tokyo Ghoul was just so enjoyable, and from what I'm getting from a lot of you guys, the consensus from you all is that you guys enjoyed this chapter as well. But I'm here to bring you the chapter review of 124 of Tokyo Ghoul Re, entitled One String. There's a lot that goes down in this chapter, and I'm not just talking about Touka and Kaneki. Like, there is some other things that get foreshadowed in parallel parts of Tokyo Ghoul Part 1. There's some stuff that calls back to Tokyo Ghoul Re, the very beginning, and there even is a shout out to Route A in this chapter. I know, Route A, the anime of Tokyo Ghoul, is being shouted out within this chapter. I know that's hard to believe, but it is, and I'm just like, holy shit, Ishida is pulling from everything right now, and I do get the feeling that though that this chapter does end and make a lot of Kaneki X Touka fans very, very happy right now, there's a lot of tragedy being built up right now. There's a lot of pieces being laid down. The groundwork is being laid for a lot of tragic moments to come, and it kind of makes it feel like there's another 20th Ward Owl raid on Inteku back from Part 1 that could be happening very soon in Tokyo Ghoul Re. So I just want to delve right into this chapter. I've read this chapter a few times and actually went back to find all the stuff that made parallels and foreshadowing. So this is going to be a very enjoyable video to make. So I have the chapter up right here of 124. Just to start off, right off the bat with the Mutsuki and Touka confrontation, and it kind of seems like we have a verbal confirmation from Mutsuki basically saying, that she tried to arrest Yoriko and then ended up, cutting off her hand or doing something. We have a verbal confirmation, but we have not seen Yoriko at all since this has happened. So my rule of philosophy is if you do not see a body, nothing has happened yet. So she could have just taken any random hand, just putting the ring on it, and she's just trying to do, psychological warfare right now on Touka. And as you go through this panel right here of the first page of Mutsuki, just talking to Touka, basically saying like, yeah, she was harboring a ghoul, so I had to arrest her, and this is why I have this in my hand right now. And it's like, she knew you were a ghoul, but she chose to stay quiet. But thinking back, I don't think Yoriko actually knew that Touka was a ghoul. So that's wrong right there, Mitsuki. But I love how Touka just comes in and just kicks her right in the face, doesn't even allow her to finish talking. And moving on from that, just kicks her right in the face, and then goes on to say, Kosaka, never heard of her. And now I get the feeling that the reason Touka is saying this is because she wants to protect Yoriko at all costs. And even if she has been injured yet, her saying this to Mutsuki, even though, Mutsuki is batshit insane right now, Touka is trying to put as much ground in between her and Yoriko as possible so that way she can remain safe, and all the blame of Mutsuki, just chasing after Touka is just for Touka being a ghoul. So I really like that about this, her denying that she even knew Yoriko, even though, Mutsuki does have photographic evidence of Yoriko and Touka being together. So it's not going to do all that much to convince Mutsuki that, those two have a connection. So it just really, really sucks, but I love how she just comes in and just kicks her face in. But the next interesting part about this chapter is the Kaneki and Aura bit, because I like the fact that, yes, Kaneki's going up against Aura right now, and if I was reading this chapter, I honestly thought if Kaneki gets bodied by Aura in this fight, that's just going to be purely embarrassing on Kaneki, because he's the one-eyed king. And if he's getting, just scrapped up by Aura, who's just second-generation QS, that would just be totally pathetic. But I like how this fight kind of ends up going where Kaneki kind of just leads him into himself, and then once he stabs him, that's when we get the reveal that he still is able to use his Kagane, which I was really surprised by, and we get the revelations that the RC suppressants haven't really kicked in yet. And then this actually puts Aura up on the defensive, and I like this callback to early parts of Tokyo Ghoul Re, and I actually have, a little image here just to show you guys. At the end of page 6 of this recent chapter, 124, we see Kaneki's Kagane sprout up from the ground, and, it attacks Aura. We've seen something very similar to this with Kaneki going up against Nishiki all the way back in the early parts of Tokyo Ghoul Re when he was Serpent and he was Heise. Now, on this picture right here, this is when they were fighting, and you can see right here that Heise at the time used his Kagane, burrowed it underground, and used it as a sneak attack on Serpent, that way he can actually catch him off guard. And this seems to be, you know, Kaneki's go-to move. It's like his sneak attack in a way, which I really like that he does this a few times. I'm not sure if there were other times that he actually did this, but when I read this in this chapter, this is what my mind immediately went to, because the early parts, at least the early volume of volume 1 of Tokyo Ghoul Re, I know like just so much about it, and this just stuck out in my mind. And I was like, yeah, this has got to be like Kaneki's signature calling card, or at least battle strategy for when he's going up against enemies, because it's a good sneak attack either way you put it. So I like that that was shown in here, and it's just overall really, really cool. And Aura had no idea what was coming for him. He's going up against the One-Eyed King. He was outmatched as soon as he showed up to Cafe Ri with Mutsuki. So I really like that bit. But then this moment right here, oh my god, I'm looking at the Oggai right now. This was the funniest moment in the chapter for me. I was not expecting this at all, and a lot of your guys' comments just made me laugh even more. The fact that the Oggai show up with helmets and bicycles, I was like, what the hell is going on here? I never would have thought that Ashita would have made me laugh so much at the badass Oggai, because they've been built up as being so badass right now. And I mean, this shouldn't really come as a surprise, because look at who their master is. It's Furuta. Troll Master Furuta himself is leading this squad, and the fact that they are just wearing helmets, you know, they're underage, so they have to ride bicycles, and there's no way that this group can look badass when they're just going around building to building, riding bicycles, wearing helmets, and not only that, they're going up against and battling Kaneki and Touka while they're trying to leave. This made me laugh out loud in my live reaction. I was just like, oh my god. I'm even looking at it right now, and this is absolutely hilarious to me. Absolutely funny. Ashita, you are a comedic genius for even making the Oggai look this way, the way you did. I love this. I love this. So moving on from that, the next thing I really want to talk about, and this delves more into the tragedy to come of this chapter, and it delves into the Sato and little Bin moment within this section, because there's a lot of dialogue that I find very interesting in this section. You know, they're trying to find food, and it's because of the Oggai that a lot of the ghouls don't really know what's happening at the moment. So when you move on from there, it's the dialogue right here when they basically say it's the sense of smell. The act of finding things by sniffing them out always leads to devastation. That's what Tatsura used to say. And I love the fact that Tatsura's wisdom is now coming back, even though he has been long past now. But the dialogue here is basically like comparing the sense of smell to the pushing of innovation and striving to be better, because the dialogue right below that where it's saying, I found a way to fly the skies. I've found out how to make bombs. I found out precious natural resource. I found someone we should hate. Those are the sorts of things that lead to downfall, he said, because in order to strive for innovation, looking at like the precious natural resources segment, in order to gain those natural resources, you have to destroy the land in order to get it. If you found someone you hate, in order to hate that person, you have to destroy their life. And he goes, I found out how to make bombs. Bombs are made to destroy, and in order to destroy more, you have to find innovative ways to make better bombs. So it's being able to sniff out better alternatives, better solutions, and that's what leads to the devastation of this world. And I really like that section of Takizawa being thrown in there, because I didn't think we'd see Takizawa again, but this little section right here is just so very good, and it kind of just shows us that the Oggai, because they're able to sniff out everything, because they have such good noses, that's what leads to the devastations right now of every ward, you know, being like totally brutalized and having all the ghouls being exterminated. And this leads very neatly into the Suzuya and Urei part. I love this part, getting to see Suzuya, and I love the dialogue right here. The bureau chief, that piece of shit, is calling for you when Urei says this, and Juzo is just like, I don't give a shit. Nope, don't wanna. I'll just play hooky. That is Juzo in a nutshell, and he doesn't even trust Furuta at this point. So this I absolutely love, and I love that Juzo even said this. We just have a nice conversation between Juzo and Urei, and moving forward from this, I was actually shocked that this was actually within the chapter at all, because as soon as I see Juzo with the paper airplane, I was like, I've seen this before. I've seen Juzo throwing a paper airplane before, and like, where could that be? And I'll actually have it right up here. This is the connection to Route A, and I actually did not even imagine that we would have a connection from the Tokyo Ghoul manga to Tokyo Ghoul Route A, because I know how a lot of people feel about Route A, the second season of Tokyo Ghoul, but as much as you want to like dislike it, there are some cool aspects to Tokyo Ghoul Route A, and this little part with Juzo throwing the paper airplane and, you know, watching it flow through the city is a very beautiful scene, and you'll see it right up here. And I like how Ishida has drawn that back into the manga. I don't think this is actually in part 1 of Tokyo Ghoul, but just to see it in here, it was just like, wow, this is really cool. Ishida is drawing, you know, from his work of the anime of Tokyo Ghoul and bringing it into the manga, because even though a lot of his ideas were scrapped for the second season of Tokyo Ghoul, I still feel like there are some ideas that were left in there that could have been one of them, and he's just bringing them back into the manga. So I really, really like that. But now it's time to delve into the parallels of this chapter, and then of course talk about that last panel. So the parallels that I really see throughout this chapter, I just got to backtrack a little bit here. I have it right here. It's when Mutsuki like just lights up a torch and then starts burning Cafe Ri. And I even have a picture right here, because when you go to chapter 143 of Tokyo Ghoul Part 1, you can see, you know, the devastation of Inteku being, you know, destroyed. It got burnt down, and people are, you know, just like getting rid of all of the debris. And this is a callback right now, because in Part 1, Inteku got destroyed, got burned down, and there was no place for the Inteku group to go and call home. And the same thing could be said in this chapter as well, because right now, Mutsuki is just torching the place. And the fact that it's going up in flames, that is basically a parallel to Part 1, basically saying, like, right now, the cafe that everyone came to that was friends with Touka and was a ghoul doesn't really have a place to call home anymore. Everyone is now out on the run, and it's kind of up in the air right now, so I really like that. And as soon as I saw that panel, I was like, that's a good callback to Part 1 of Tokyo Ghoul. But this last part, I know that a lot of people love this last part with Touka and Kaneki, and if you guys actually did not know this, when you go back to Part 1 of Chapter 124 of Tokyo Ghoul, there's actually a kissing scene in there as well, which I actually was like, this has to be some type of parallels between both chapters being 124. And in 124 in Part 1, that's when Akira and Amon, you know, had that kiss, even though Amon ended up blocking it. But in this chapter, we have Touka going in for a kiss right now. And right now, we just see, you know, we just see Touka's top half. We don't know what actually happened. Will Kaneki, and this is a will, because I actually have no idea what we're going to be getting next chapter, does Kaneki block, you know, Touka's advancements to go in and kiss him, or does he just accept it? Because Ishida could take this either way, and if it mirrors the events of chapter 124 back in Part 1, then you know that Kaneki might block this, and I know this is going to get a lot of people upset, because a lot of people that ship both of these characters are going to be very, very salty if Kaneki actually ends up blocking the kiss from Touka. And as for me, I just like the story of Tokyo Ghoul. I'm not really much of a shipper, but I like the relationship that they're building right now between Touka and Kaneki. If it goes that way, that's going to be great. But overall, this last panel has so many people just like, they're like, yes, our ship is not sinking, and people are so happy right now. And even in the comments of my live reaction, I can tell that you guys really, really liked this chapter. But the events of this chapter are foreshadowing very heavily for tragedy to come. And I just want to say, brace yourself, guys, because if this is heading towards the same chapters where we got the Owl and Teku 20th Ward Raid arc back in Part 1, odds are there's going to be a lot of bloodshed. There's going to be a lot of people that end up dying, most likely, and we might even have some main characters not make it out of this next arc, because Ishida right now, even blatantly within this chapter, is comparing what is to come to the 20th Ward Owl Raid arc. So just prepare yourself, guys, because enjoy this moment while you can of Kaneki X Touka, because who knows how long this will last, and who knows who will make it out of this next arc. But overall, this chapter was just so enjoyable just to read and just like share with you guys, and I just really can't wait for the next chapter to come. Will next chapter pick up where we left off with this chapter, and will we see, you know, Kaneki possibly block the kiss, or will he accept this kiss, and will they go any further than just kissing? Who knows? We'll just have to wait for next chapter, but I hope you guys enjoyed this review for chapter 124, and hope you guys actually like, you know, those like callbacks, those foreshadowing moments, because looking back, it's just amazing how Ishida is able to craft this story and make callbacks and even like foreshadow for events to come with past events in his manga. Anyway, guys, that's it for my review. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below about what you think is going to be happening in these next chapters to come, but also in this next arc that is to follow, because happy moments are going to be gone and tragedy is about to consume us all. The dark abyss that is Tokyo Ghoul is going to return in full swing, and we just got to embrace the darkness and just claw out the best way we can. So I'm just looking forward to you guys' thoughts, and if you guys are fans of Tokyo Ghoul, I do live reactions and reviews to all chapters that come out, so if you guys want to join in on the conversations in the comments is so much fun, so if you guys want to join in as well, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I would love to talk with you guys because this manga is just so much fun to read and just interact with you guys. So that's going to be it, guys. I look forward to talking with you in either a discussion video coming up very soon, or going to be the next chapter coming out next Saturday, next week with 125. So, alright guys, I'll see you guys in my next Tokyo Ghoul video. See you later, guys. Bye.